Welcome to this edition of the Banner Press Sports Corner. Thanks for tuning in on your preferred platform. I'm Nicholas Hodell, sports writer here at the Brenham Banner Press, and Brenham softball is going full speed ahead toward District 17 5A play after wrapping up its non-district schedule on Monday with a win at Giddings, putting the Cubettes at 9-6 overall, heading into the rest of their district slate with a loss at College Station coming back in February to open up the district season. In addition to showcasing a team headline filled with experience and several freshmen in major roles, the Cubettes softball program has plenty of big theme nights planned for the 2025 district season through mid-April in that last home game. Here to discuss those nights and the Cubettes softball team in the Sports Corner this week is Brenham softball head coach and Brenham High School girls athletic coordinator, Kenny Roberts. Thank you so much for joining me this week.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, and we mentioned that game against Giddings on Monday, a 5-3 result. Had some hitting throughout the lineup. Avery Maurer, 2 for 3. Rest of them picking up a hit apiece for about 6 of those goals for an 8-hit night, 5 walks on offense. And we talked a little bit about it Monday night in that 5-3 result. Probably could have wanted some more situational hitting to go your way with runners in scoring position there.
Yes, I think 9 maybe runners were left on, something like that. I felt like we did a good job of getting people on, but not necessarily moving them, whether it was bunting or just putting a ball in play in certain moments to put a little pressure on their defense. We just had a hard time with timely hitting last night, which would have resulted in more runs. But, you know, sometimes you have days like that. And I know I talked to you last night about we've been going and going and going and going. We haven't had much of a break. So I think I kind of saw that out of them last night, that they're tired and they're not 100% right now. So we'll keep going.
Yeah, and this is a point to where I think you've had 7 games in essentially a 7-day stretch, and that of course doesn't necessarily include a Sunday where you guys were at the Washington County Little League opening day, right, which that kind of took some energy out of them as well. It's just what's going to be the big thing really this week to kind of keep those girls, get them rested and get them ready for a big game on Friday.
Yeah, I told them last night, I said, if there's a week that you could pick that you need to rest, this is the week, you know, because after this we go into spring break and we have one game at the beginning of the week and then I give them some time off. So every year at this time, they're usually pretty tired. So I said they need to take care of their bodies. They need to eat right. They need to make sure that they catch up on their schoolwork. We got a lot of smart kids, so they care a lot about how their grades are. And we're at the end of the 9 weeks right now. So, you know, just taking time at home to relax, maybe get away from it. We've been together a lot. So, you know, take some time with your family and just reset our minds a little bit so that way we can be 100% on Friday.
Yeah, and within that structure, there's a big tournament there, that Southeast Texas Invitation. You guys played a lot of softball there. It's just obviously within school, they spend a lot of time with each other during the school day as well. So it gets to be an awful lot there for it, I'd imagine.
I mean, they really like traveling, and we stayed overnight at this tournament. Every year they say, you know, it's their favorite part of the year when they get to go be together in the hotel and stuff. So we made sure that, you know, they got to do that because it's fun being a Cubette, you know. But at the same time, that comes with them playing around a lot and enjoying each other and staying up maybe a little bit later and things like that, which in my opinion, it's worth it because they enjoy it. But it also hits you at this point where we do need to rest up some.
Yeah, and that tournament essentially served as a replacement for the Dripping Springs tournament that got canceled. So how much of just getting those girls that overnight opportunity was on your mind when you kind of got into that Southeast Texas Invitational, perhaps one of the later moments?
Well, when we got the news that Dripping Springs was canceled, I know my heart was crushed, and immediately I was getting texts from our seniors like, Coach, we've got to do something about this, you know. And I was really, you know, thankful that Coach Womack over there at Dripping Springs, you know, they continuously met, and they made a decision early because it did allow me to be able to reach out to some other coaches, and we had a couple options, and Coach Slack worked us in at the Liberty or Southeast Invitational. And so I was really thankful that she was able to work us in the schedule at the last minute like that. And the girls were too. So they were crushed. We love going to Dripping Springs, you know. But we were able to work something out, and they had a good time. So.
Yeah, and of course to recap some of the other offensive stats from Giddings, teaming with what was 1 for 4 with an RBI. Kinley and Kuliak got an RBI. After Alden Jackson, Stella Lentry had a 2 RBI hit there. So some balance hitting on the RBI front. Pitching wise, it's kind of a 2-girl staff for you this year with Kylie Baker and Leighton Davis, and we had again a chance to talk about both of them last Monday night as well, with Kylie throwing 8 strikeouts, 5 walks, but a lot of those walks came full counts, 7th inning, Giddings trying
The
to make a
last
comeback.
inning.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's just
She started off throwing really well. I mean, she didn't ask to come out. You know, she's limited right now with her arm and how it's feeling, and sometimes it depends on the amount of pitches, sometimes it doesn't. So, she didn't. I just knew Leighton needed to get a few innings. I thought Kylie was throwing a good game up into that point, and Leighton did need to get a few innings. And so bringing Kylie back in at the end, you know, I don't know if she was ready. I kind of just threw it at her, you know, probably could have been communicated a little bit better, but she mentally gutted it out, and that was good. So.
yeah. And I know one of the things you told me is that you needed moments like that to prepare you guys for what's ahead, and then certainly that is the case. We have a tough district coming up, but just to keep it on the pitching side and with what they've both been able to do, kind of mentioned Kylie's been a little more limited, so freshman Leighton Davis has been thrown into a lot of situations over these first 15 games. Just how well do you think she's handled herself so far as a freshman?
I mean, I feel like she's pretty composed. You know, I've been impressed with her hitting her spots and things of that nature. Yeah, she's made a few mistakes here or there, but they all do. You know, and I feel like she's handled her failure really well to be a freshman in this spot, and she's thrown a lot of innings for us. And some of, like you mentioned, our district's tough. Some of the opponents, the offenses that we have faced have been pretty tough. And I feel like she's hung in there, you know, and even put us in positions to, if we just make a couple plays, I mean, she's keeping us in it. So I've been impressed with how she's handled herself overall, you know, starting this year, because I wasn't quite sure, obviously, because we hadn't had her before. She's a freshman and she was in volleyball. So all off season, she wasn't with us until after volleyball. So I think she's done a good job.
Yeah, 50 in a third innings. She's had 33 strikeouts, 33 earned runs out of 50 total, so some unearned runs within that mix as well. So, yeah, and then some of the stats definitely show that she is hanging in there. And Kylie, with the limited innings that she's had, 36 of them so far to this point, a 2.33 ERA, 54 strikeouts, only allowing 14 total runs, 12 of them being earned, and 23 hits. Just how well do you think she's done with the innings that you've allowed her to pitch so far this year?
I think she's done a great job, especially considering the fact that she can't be on her schedule right now and try to tune in, you know, the little bitty details, because she has to, you know, take some time off and stuff. You know, our pitchers are so used to being on a schedule with going to their lessons, or, you know, things that make them feel comfortable, what days they want to throw on, and she's kind of been thrown a loop because of, you know, health reasons. So considering that, I feel like she has done a really good job and has had good outings. I mean, so, I mean, obviously, as a coach, there's things that I'm looking at, like, oh, I wish this pitch was a little bit more believable, or, you know, whatever. But that's we always pick apart everything. So I've been pretty impressed with Kylie. We started even incorporating her in the offense these last few games as well. So I hope she'll come around there too, as far as at bats are concerned.
Yeah, how well is she developing as far as her health is concerned with district play coming up here?
I feel pretty good about her right now. You know, she's communicating well, which is nice. If she's in the middle of the game and thinking I'm not feeling right, you know, she's giving me a heads up. But I mean, I think she's taking it head on.
Yeah, and that's certainly good to hear after you already have one of your pitchers, Heidi Busker, being out for the year. So it's kind of been even tough to have another one limited, I'd imagine, from a coaching standpoint, right?
Yes, and Heidi's going to eventually have to have surgery, thoracic outlet. So bless her heart. But she actually she went to the doctor this past weekend while we were gone, and she got a shot that's supposed to mimic her surgery. And so she's actually starting to throw again. So she's excited. So she gets to throw for a little bit and see how she feels, you know, with the shot. So I know she was really missing towards these last few weeks. She's like, gosh, I just want to throw, you know. So that was exciting for her, even though she's still going to have surgery.
Yeah,
she's getting to get into it for a little bit before that happens.
Yeah, that's certainly good to hear with her. But looking at the offensive point of things, obviously, if Avery and Sarah Maurer and maybe the two heavy hitting seniors in the group, they've been exceptional at this point. A 4.20 average for Maurer, a 4.17 average for maybe. They've been consistently within the top of the leaderboards at this point in the year. It's just how well have those two really been leading this offense this season.
Yeah, they're the ones that get it started for us, which is why, starting the beginning of the year, I was like, where do we put them in the lineup? Avery's been lead off. I knew that was going to happen, but as far as Sarah's concerned, normally you're putting them in the 3 or the 4 if they're your powerhouses, but in our opinion, we were like, let's put them back to back, because if one of them hits the ball off the wall, Avery's going to score, and that gives them the chance to get the most at bats. Like, we wanted our best hitters to have the most at bats in the game. So it's been kind of interesting having them back to back like that. But it definitely, if one of them doesn't get on, you feel like you have a chance for the next one, and I'm going to give credit to Mackenzie and Kinley coming in after them too. They've done a good job of putting some balls in play and scoring them if one or the other can't do it. So yeah, it's fun to have them both back to back at the top of the lineup.
Yeah, and Kinley's been really coming in strong lately over the last few games, is getting her average now into the 400s at 405, hits in 5 of her last 6 games, including 3 against Hardin Jefferson, a couple against North Shore, a couple against Grand Oaks, and I know at least Grand Oaks and North Shore, those are big schools enrollment-wise, so just to see her getting back into the swing of things with that, and also RBIs in her last 5 games too. I'm sure you're really pleased with how she's been coming along.
She's been performing well here lately, and it's needed. We have a lot of young kids too in the lineup that haven't seen this much pitching and stuff like that. So to see her step up has really helped us, in the producing runs standpoint. So as long as we can just keep her on what she's doing, she's having good at bats. So and she's quick on the bases, which helps us. But yeah. She's doing a good job.
Yeah, and she was kind of struggling for a little bit through the leadoff classic, and that recent stretch she's had.
That's really, the game of softball, though.
Yeah,
you have to be able to push through. If not, it'll eat you away. She's been doing a good job here lately.
Yeah, softball and baseball both.
Yes.
I'm sure Coach Whedon would tell me the same thing with his group. And we have Brenham softball coach Katie Roberts with us in the sports corner this week, mentioning some of the more experienced players. But now the transition to the freshmen of this group. A lot of freshmen, a lot of young talent. We've talked throughout the year about just the moving parts and pieces of this group with this freshman class. Just how well do you think all the freshmen have handled some of the growing pains through the first 15 games of the year?
I think that they're adjusting to the fact of I need to be ready to go wherever it is at any moment. It might be just coming into, having at bat, or I'm playing in the infield one inning and the outfield next, or running bases here or there. Like I've been throwing them in a lot of different situations, some pressure, some not. But they haven't complained. I don't feel like they're mentally breaking down. I feel like they're doing what's asked and working hard. And as from a coaching standpoint, you can't ask for much more than that,
Yeah, and Alden Jacks was the big freshman on Monday night with the RBI double, and adding now to what's the 3-game hit streak for her second of the year, actually, going back to that first tournament weekend. And Alden's been a big staple for you guys in that outfield. It's just how well has she really come along?
She is probably one of the ones that has, I don't want to say shocked me, but has impressed me. Because there was a group of them, and I kind of still feel that way, that they're kind of on the same level, like who's going to break out and be the one that is going to step up, and I feel like Alden was, and she's earned her place in the lineup as of right now, because she has stepped up in moments and made something happen offensively. Defensively, she'll be in center or left for the most part, and has been working hard there too. So
yeah, and that double was her first career extra base hit, so that's always. I mean, anytime you see a freshman have a milestone like that, a lot of freshmen that keep track of those kinds of milestones. But just how pleasing is that for you as a coach to see these freshmen hit these different achievements at the early point in their career?
Well, it's good because it's going to prepare them to continue to get better. That's why we put a lot of them in this situation, even though maybe they could go play however many games for JV. They're one at bat at the varsity level, or they're whatever it might be, inning played here or there. Sometimes we'll prepare them to get better in general. So they like each other too. They're a fun group, they can mess around with each other. They like each other, but they also push each other and hold each other accountable. So that's been fun to watch too.
Yeah, and a lot of the freshmen are hanging around that 200s in the average department right now. Harper Castillo at 258, kind of rising above that particular pack. Been the first baseman for you guys, and she's got that big frame to where being a first baseman, I'm sure really benefits her in that respect, where she can go get some more balls if there's underthrown, even some overthrows. Sometimes she can go up and grab some of those. Just how well have you been impressed with what she's been able to do at that first base position?
Well, coming in, she played that position before, but I don't know how heavy, that she had been there. So she's been getting a crap ton of reps over there. And I've seen her get better from the moment that she came in from volleyball till now. She's gotten better and more comfortable in the first base position. Still learning a few things, of course. And then offensively, her and Leighton both, they, like you said, they both have a good build to them. I think their power is going to get better as their years go. And they've both came through in different moments, as freshmen, I expect them to struggle a little bit here or there. And so if one of the two of them can produce in the lineup, like Leighton got on base last night, it was walks, but she found a way. She hit a home run too that went foul. I mean, I had a crazy
couple of those, with the win.
So if one of the two of those can find a way to get on, they have, normally one of the two of them, then we're in a good spot.
Yeah. Had a couple of those homers. I think it was Sarah that hit one too. That kind of
Sarah and Leighton both hit the ball pretty hard, but the wind took it. So
yeah. It's just how hard is that to deal with such heavy winds that you guys experience at Giddings?
Well, I mean, that's just part of it. Both teams have to deal with it. I was actually talking to my mom this morning. She was like, they said that ball was hit pretty hard, the last ball of the game to right field last night. And I was like, well, I do think the wind might have helped us a little out, but it also helped the other team at some point, That's just conditions. Both teams are in the same conditions, no matter what it is, ice, cold, rain, whatever it is. We just have to mentally get over it and try to do the best we can to set them up to succeed.
Yeah, and you guys have had just about everything except the ice part this season. Yeah. We've had ice beforehand.
We canceled that one, but
yes. Yes, and some of one of the other things that I really like about baseball and softball is the advanced numbers. A lot of those statistics that you may not see in a basic box score, but when you look at it from a season-long perspective, tell us a story. And this team, we've been mentioning Harper and Alden, they're very similar in the quality at that stat, which Game Changer defines as any one of either 3 pitches after 2 strikes, 6 or more pitches at bats, an extra base hit, hard hit ball, walk, sacrifice, bunt, or fly. So a lot of different ways to get a quality at bat. You guys are a little over 180 for the season. Avery Mallard, Sarah maybe are both very similar. Avery at 26, Sarah at 25 with that team lead. Leighton at 21 is right up there as well. Just when you hear some of those numbers, just what does that kind of tell you about the state of your offense right now as far as quality at bats are concerned?
Well, and a lot of times I think the kids put a lot of pressure on, I need to be the one to do something huge, hit the double off the wall or whatever. And a lot of times us as coaches are focus on what your plan is, go and have a quality at bat. If you're having quality at bats, the results will eventually come. So I do, now that you bring that stat up, a lot of times I'll look at that, we're trying to come up with a lineup, who is actually having good at bats, because our game is a game of failure. So we're not always going to hit the ball to the wall and things like that. So we do try to tell them, make sure that you're having good at bats. It's not always about the result. You just had a good at bat, yes or no? What pitches are you picking, that sort of thing. So
yeah, good to see a statistic that actually tracks that for you.
Right. And we don't have to do it on our own. Right. Game Changer does it for us, which is nice.
Right. Hard hit balls, that's another one that's tracked there with line drives and hard ground balls. And this is where Avery has some more of a lead with 18 of those, but Mackenzie Tieman's at 10, Sarah Maybe's at 9, Alden Jackson's at 7, and then you kind of get that pack there that starts with Alden at 7. 76 for the year so far. So take that as around 5-ish so per game. Just is that probably a good number you want to see there out of the group?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on who we're facing. If we're facing Gracie Ream from College Station, your numbers aren't going to be as high as if we were facing last night. I thought we should have done a little better offensively, so it kind of depends on, what scouting report of the people that you're looking at as far as the expectations for us go, in our at-bats.
Yeah, and of course, Gracie Ream. Anytime you face her, it's always going to be a tough outing.
I know. I told her coach the other night, I was like, you know what? One more time. I'm going to face her one more time.
Yeah,
anyway, her and her sister, both very good athletes.
Yeah, phenomenal careers, both of them at College Station. 2 out RBIs. So I think this is a point to where some of those runners being left on base was a big point for you guys against Giddings. You guys are at 23 for the year. Avery Mowers at 8, Mackenzie Tiemans at 6. Everyone else at 3 or below. So I mean, it's the 2-out RBI there, probably about 1.5 a game at this point through the 15-game schedule. Just when it comes to that timely hitting, just overall, just how much more do you want to see out of this group?
Well, I found myself saying this, and I think it was to Coach Van Hook. We just kept, in a couple games back-to-back, we just kept not getting our leadoff runner on. So then we were trying to fight with 1 out and getting a runner on. So then we didn't want to bunt and move them, and it'd be 2 outs, even though I may change that philosophy in my head. But I found that we were getting a lot of people on with 1 out or 2 outs versus if we could just get the leadoff runner or hitter on, in an inning. Obviously, you're not going to do that every time. But if we could do that 4 out of 7 innings, 3 out of 7 innings, I think we'll put ourselves in a better chance for those 2-out RBIs and things of that nature. Obviously, you're going to see more hitters in an inning when you do something like that too. And it just sets you up for more situational things versus getting somebody on with 2 outs and then the next person feeling like, oh, God, I got to be the one, So I'd like to see more of that. But, we are where we are. Part of our lineup is doing really well. The other part is hit or miss right now. So
yeah, and I'm sure
keep working.
and I'm sure getting that leadoff on would give you so much more possibilities strategically throughout an inning, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, and we have a lot of speed throughout our lineup, so it just gives us a chance to try to make their defense work a little bit. And we like to steal bases and we like to run. So if we can do that with less than 2 outs, we're in a better spot overall to score runs.
Yeah, and one more advanced stat that I was looking in that caught my eye. It's the 3+ pitch after 2 strike plate appearances category, with Harper and Alden actually tied for the lead at 7 apiece there. And you guys have 38 such plate appearances overall. How valuable is that to have girls that can work pitch counts up and see more pitches throughout an at-bat?
Well, if you ask any pitcher, when you're throwing 3 or more pitches after a full count, obviously your workload goes up. So they're throwing a lot more pitches, number one. Number two, that's only more pitches that the next round you're prepared to, you faced her for, let's just say 10 pitches. I'll just throw that out there. Well, you've probably seen every pitch at that point if you're going that deep in a count. So it's helping our dugout. It's helping you on your next at bat. And obviously wearing down the pitcher at the same time. So it's always a plus. Even though I'd like for us to hit early in the count, and because obviously you're going to get better pitches normally early in the count than hitting with 2 strikes. Those that are staying in there and fouling pitches off, at least we're tracking and doing things well there.
Yeah, perhaps one of the things that got Kylie a little bit in that 7th inning, I would imagine Monday night, working with those full counts. So it'll be interesting to see how all of those advanced stats kind of work themselves out throughout the year, which now is fully on the district play for you guys, and with that comes a lot of fun nights for you guys at Alumni Field, and one that particularly will catch my eye, I believe March 28th, I want to say, is that celebration of 20 years ago. You can definitely check that. I'm going to tell you,
just to make sure, yes, we have March 28th, yes.
Yes, it's the celebration of the 2005 state championship team, which is kind of the fabric of a lot of the coaching staffs now for the Brenham girls of athletics. Just how special of a time was that in that 2005 state championship?
It's great. And we, every time we run into each other or have a group text or whatever, we always bring back the memories. It's really fun. An incredible year, to end up on top, of course, but friendships that last forever for sure. And I'm excited. I wrote him a long time ago. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe we're already at 20 years. We've got to do something. So I know Jessica Winan's going to be having a baby right around that time. But I think we're going to have a decent amount of group come in, and, we'll get to hang out and share memories again. So it's a good time.
Yeah. I mean, looking through the brackets, it's obviously outside of the state tournament, so many close games within that run. Just prior to the state tournament, just what do you think were 1 or 2 of the more crucial games that got you guys to where you were as the state championship?
I wish I could remember all those series, and I don't know if I do, but I do remember us going to 3 games, and 3 games, like we just couldn't take care of it in 2. And I remember how frustrated Coach Wilson was with that, just because every series went to 3, and then some of them were within 1 run in that third, the third game. I remember Klein Oak because it was the last one before we went to the state tournament, and we only played one game that time. I remember that because they were a district opponent, and we faced our district opponent in the regional final, and that being such a tight game as well. So just we were little rivals in volleyball as well. We played them in the regional finals in volleyball as well. So just crazy little rival between us and them at that point.
Yeah, 2-0 there in that game, and the 3-game stretch is PNG in the area.
PNG,
around.
I knew it was PNG. I was going to say that, and I didn't want to be wrong.
But and then Angleton as well.
Yes.
in that fourth round, obviously had the by-district round off due to winning the district, but so many good ones. And then obviously the state tournament games, the 4-1 win in the semifinal, and then 2-1 against Northwest in the state championship. Just how long has this night been in the works as far as getting these women to come back?
I probably started when I was working on the schedule a little bit, so I mean months ago, summertime. I can't remember exactly when I just started the big text of there were 2 particular dates I wanted to pick from and just wanted to see how many could make it out of the 2. So we ended up choosing this one, but I don't know. I've got with Coach Whalen, and it was our volleyball. We went to the state tournament in volleyball, and that would have been the 20 years then. So that's what got my mind rolling to move on to the softball, and that we needed to do something to celebrate it. So
yeah. And you guys got 6 on the all-tournament team that year at state. Second base for you, Coach Whalen, then Winkleman, a pitcher. So certainly that'll be a really fun night to celebrate that particular team. Just what are also some of the other nights that you're looking forward to throughout the district season to celebrate?
Well, this Friday coming up, we have parent night. So obviously our kids aren't who they are without their parents. So we love to celebrate that. Then we will celebrate our teachers, and that is right after spring break. That's March 18th. So the kids get to choose who their favorite teacher or staff member is, and we invite them out to be recognized before the game. And then we said 2005, but we will be having youth night on, April 8th. At the Little League opening day the other day, Addie Sebastian, she won the raffle to throw out the first pitch. So one of our little girls in the community will throw out a first pitch. We're gonna, if they wear their jerseys, they get in the game free. They get a hot dog, and then they'll come out and do the national anthem and run out with us on the field. So that's always fun to see the little ones in their uniforms and playing for them that day.
And you can't beat the free hot dog, of course.
No.
You can't beat that. That's a heck of a deal there for the little ones right there. And of course, we'll be there every step of the way to follow them. There'll be a lot of fun nights ahead. Of course, all of that will be in the Banner Press over the next few months. And, of course, before we wrap things up formally, some of our biggest headlines from Tuesday's edition, the celebration of Texas Independence Day at Washington, Nebraska. That was a huge deal. Good report from our managing editor, Keith E. Donkey, on that, as well as on Blinn spring enrollment. And also some big news from us personally. We are now taking nominations for our upcoming 20 Under 40 magazine. So what this is going to be, we are taking nominations from now until April 11th. We actually put a nomination form on page 8 at the very back of our latest newspaper. You, the community, can nominate someone ages 18 through 40. The criteria there: must live and or work in Washington County and be making a positive contribution to the community here in the county. Nominees do not have to be in the workforce, but they must have done something to benefit Washington County. Self-nominations are not permitted. Anyone within the newsroom are not eligible, so keep that in mind. As we want to celebrate other people in the community outside of us here at the Banner. And so what you can do is you can fill the nomination form. That'll be printed in select editions of the paper. We have a PDF also available on our website, BrenhamBanner.com, and you can send that in here to the Banner Press office, or you can email those to Keith@BrenhamBanner.com, our managing editor. Incomplete forms will not be considered, so keep that in mind. Please be sure to fully fill out those forms. And that magazine will come out in the end of June, so that'll be a really exciting time for us to be able to celebrate the community there. And to receive the local information that will matter to you, you can subscribe on our website, BrenhamBanner.com, or by calling 979-836-7956. Again, that is 979-836-7956. I'm sure you'll want to see everything Brenham softball does the rest of the way against a very competitive district, so be sure to subscribe today. Thank you so much again, Coach Roberts. Certainly do appreciate the time and look forward to Friday night against Montgomery.
Yes, y'all come out and support us. We need a big crowd.
Yeah, that'll be a big game for you guys with the way the district could potentially be shaking out.
Yes.
So
it ought to be pretty competitive, I think.
Yeah, a lot on the line at Alumni Field this week. I've been Nicholas Hodell. Thank you for watching the Sports Corner this week. We'll catch you all later on. Have a very good rest of your week, everyone.